गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम to Gunner Shot. Gunner Shot में आप सबका स्वागत है. Today we're going to do a geostrategic roundup and then I'll take your questions. Already I see quite a few questions and well, we'll take all of them on. A lot of time, no hurry. Right, but first let's get to what's happening. And this is what I'm going to make a feature every Sunday. What I'm going to do is the first Sunday that is starting from today, I'll concentrate on regional roundup. The next Sunday, I'll go to the international roundup. The third Sunday, I'll talk of national issues. And fourth, we'll talk of Pakistan and China. So a month-to-month kind of a thing. It's a new thing. But after that, there will be this open hour so that we can discuss what we want. Right. Let's start with what's going on. The first thing, excellent thing which has happened, Budapest. India has won the World Chess Championship. Right? It's something historic and we won it hands down. I think all of us have to put our hands together and say, well done. I think that's very important. And, a good wishes of 1 billion plus people are with our champs. Right? See their faces so happy and nice. Fantastic. Okay, let's talk of what's happened in Wilmington, Delaware, where the Quad leaders met. And that was an important meet because for many reasons you'll say, okay, the President Biden is finishing, there's a lame duck president, and why are these Quad chaps meeting? No. There's the fourth meet of the heads of state, right? And pretty important. The tone was very clear. The tone was very firm. The tone was directed to China, though China was not named. A lot of initiatives came out. Look at it. Maritime Initiative for Training in the Indo-Pacific. It's called Maitri. It's going to be India-based, and we're going to do a lot of training in that. What is it for? It's for secure waters, enforce laws in the seas, and deter unlawful behavior. That's important. It's going to train smaller countries and smaller forces to do all this. And which means a lot of networking, which means a lot of things, which means telling China, look, you're going to be not running away with everything. Then there's going to be a Quad maritime legal dialogue. So the legalities of issues involved are going to come into play. Then there's going to be an at-sea observer mission of Coast Guards. So all the Coast Guards will get together and carry out patrols. That's the sum total of the story, the way I can make out. And the Indo-Pacific logistics network, very important. So it's some kind of a logistics protocol which will give sustenance to all the Quad partners. Plus the fact, remember, we've already announced, it's been announced rather, that the Quad countries will carry out patrolling of South China Sea. Right? That throws a huge challenge to China. How will China respond? That's to be seen. Let's see how it goes. Right? And but then, what are the initial reactions from China? Here it is. Right? They are very clear that the Quad is aiming at China. This is today afternoon, South China Morning Post, the first reaction. Quad leaders expand joint maritime security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. All this they know is going to come at them. And what's the reaction from Global Times? This Quad summit to hype China challenge, but divergent remains. They'll talk, they'll not work with each other, all that. Everyone said, Quad is dead, Quad is done with thing. No, Quad is there. Understand something which I now going to tell you. How did the Quad come into being? It came into being because of the 2004 tsunami. That was when Shinzo Abe first said, look, mind you, at that time, Indian Navy reached out to places which other navies couldn't reach. The Chinese Navy, they just kept in. They just didn't come out. It was only the Indian Navy and the US Navy which were out at sea. And India did this despite being hit by the tsunami. China was not hit by the tsunami, but they went and hid inside. Okay, they never brought their navy out. The Indian Navy was there. That's when Shinzo Abe said, "Look, there's something in this navy and something in this country which does this. So let's start." That's where it came and it withered away due to the geopolitical issues of that time. And finally, it's now come through. And the past 3 years, 4 years, from where it started, from a a bureaucratic level meeting to the foreign ministers and State Department meeting to 4 summits of Quad leaders. It's something. And remember, the basic of the sheet anchor of Quad remains their naval exercises, the Malabar exercises, where all navies are getting together and exercising. So there's interoperability. Now, today I was reading something about China by a Chinese. And what did the writing go? The writing went, says China will not like to get into a situation where it has to take on the Indian Army along the LAC and the American military in the seas. That's their worry. And they're in a two-front situation today. I keep talking this. And Quad puts them there, despite everything. And actually, China, if it's contained, it's now contained militarily. That's why it's not acting too tough with Philippines also. But that I'll talk in the thing as coming war against China. So that much for Quad. The pager, exploding pagers. What's happened? This is the tweet which the Israel Defense Forces put out. I told you guys, everyone, 3 days back, that it will be very difficult for Hezbollah to recover from this attack. When I was speaking with Shreya, look at this, how many people in their top level have been wiped out. It's only the leader with 1 or 2 chaps left. Others all have been systematically eliminated. Hamas has been hammered. Okay, I mean, they'll keep firing a few rockets here and there. That you cannot stop. But equally, now Israel has got its fingers, or rather, tentacles fully into Hezbollah, and they're going to strangle them. Don't be surprised if one day this Hassan Nasrallah is also knocked off. Okay, so something interesting. The developing story. Let's see where it goes. Like I said, this pager attack is going to change a lot of things, and we need to start thinking very seriously how to get rid of our Chinese habit. Okay. Sri Lanka elections. For the first time, Sri Lanka elections went into the second round. Mr. Anurag Dissanayake will be the new president of Sri Lanka on second round basis. It's already been declared. How things will pan out, we'll see. But let me give you a background of, what Sri Lanka elections were all about. This was elections about trying to revive themselves. Changes happened. There were 3 main contestants. Anurag Dissanayake, Sajid Premdasa, and Ranil Wickremesinghe. Ranil Wickremesinghe was a distant third with just 17% votes. Anurag Dissanayake had 42 and Sajid Premdasa had 37 or 38. So it went into a second count. Ranil Wickremesinghe was taken out. And on second count, Dissanayake has won, second preference votes, which are added to the original. Right? So he's come trumps. Now, how will he be? What's his background? He's a left of the center guy. Let's be very clear. Okay. And he's teamed up with JVP, which was at one point of time a revolutionary organization and anti-India and all that. But then a lot of things have changed from then. Right. to the extent that earlier in the year, Anurag Dissanayake came to India. He met the leadership. And in fact, Ranil Wickremesinghe even commented upon it. But he met people and he's gone back and he's won. We discussed with Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, India has all its bases covered in this story, right? It didn't matter who won for us because we had some understanding with everyone. It's only that with Dissanayake, we'll have to start, I wouldn't say afresh, but we'll have to find our way for getting something going in a meaningful manner. Because he's someone whom we've not dealt with, and because he's never been in power, right? So, but we know what him, everything. And more importantly, I think Sri Lanka by now knows who its true friends are. Just like Maldives is coming about it. Look at Maldives. They had 50 million USD Sukuk bonds which were due for payment. What is Sukuk bonds? They're just bonds, where people buy those bonds and they buy it, they return it back after some time, and the government is supposed to honor it. Right? It's just the Islamic bond without, what shall I say, interest. But that's a different story. The interest is built in. Because the buyback values are different than the holding values or the bought-up values. And Maldives didn't have money. Earlier, around April, May, we gave them emergency financial assistance of 50 million USD. And now we've offered them another 50 million as an emergency aid. To note, China and Turkey, who were at the helm of the India Out campaign, edging Muizu forward in the India Out campaign, are nowhere to be seen. So they've come back. So the Muizu has come back to India. So for all you know, Muizu started with the India Out campaign and he might end with the India In campaign. So it's a signal lesson which you equate with Sri Lanka. And I think I said this at that time also, that look, you need to have a method of how to take our neighbors along. Our neighbors will have their own views, but we need to take our neighbors along. And I'll talk about this business of taking neighbors along when I talk of Bangladesh. I'm not going to miss out on Bangladesh. Okay, let's look at Pakistan or Betinoir and what's happening there. Of course, they are living from the beggar's bowl to another beggar's bowl. That is not everyone knows. But what I put in red is the important thing. But there are a lot of TTP and BLA attacks going on. As just about 3 days back, another TTP attack where 7 Pakistanis were knocked off. The IMF loan is stuck. They want 7 billion from IMF. IMF has not budged. Okay, so there's no money. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is completely out of control. That Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa said, now I'll start dealing with Taliban directly. Forget, you can't deal with them, I'll deal with them. So there is a problem in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, right? But the most interesting thing in the past 1 week I've been listening to is their constitutional amendment. Pakistan is going into a constitutional or trying to put together a constitutional amendment. What is that constitutional amendment aimed at? And what I've written here is direct lift from an ex-editor of Dawn who's written in op-ed. He says the amendment was aimed at clipping the superior judiciary's wings, gaining more control over appointments to the superior courts, that is the Supreme Court, acquiring the power to transfer strong-minded judges from one high court to another, and last but not the least, authorizing military court trials of civilians. This is what he's written. But what is the hidden thing? You know what? When you see they want the Third Republic, they feel that this constitution will be the Third Republic, new constitution. About 20, 30 amendments, no one knows what they are. They have not got the numbers, and they said, okay, we'll have a thing constitutionally put up for amendment. No one knew what the agenda was. That kind of a skullduggery is going on. Unfortunately, they have not had the numbers in that lower house or in their upper house. See, Pakistan had for a long time, after 47, they never had a constitution. They put together a constitution on 1956, which was promptly abrogated, or rather uh, kept under the wraps after Ayub Khan took over, 62, right, and or something like that. So after that, that constitution was virtually null and void because they were under martial law. And then came 71, and Bangladesh split away from them. They didn't have anything. And then in 1973, Bhutto, who was still a chief martial law administrator, uh, put this constitution together, 73 constitution. The 73 constitution, they took a lot of things from India, the Indian constitution, and did it. Okay, that's a different story. But now Asim Munir wants to knock it off and get his own constitution. And if you look at the Pakistani history, every ruler has come and he wants to put his own constitution, or he'll abrogate it and suspend it and put his martial law. So Pakistan has never had any great thing. So now they are talking of Third Republic. अभी ये नया कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाएगा, नया dawn आएगा. And they want to constitute something called a Federal Constitutional Court. And this court will be above the Supreme Court. And this court will be appointed by the Parliament and the Executive. The Executive means the army. So earlier story of the senior most judge becoming the Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice and all will go. And Supreme Court will continue with criminal cases and all, but constitutional issues and what of the country will be out of their purview. It will be somewhere else. And that tenure of that judge will be decided by the government. So he will be given a gajar. कि भाई आप 68 तक serve करोगे. So then he will listen to the government. And then the government has to listen to the army. This is all a nice thing which is going on. Okay. Koji. Right. Okay. Then that's what I said, extend tenure of judges. Implicit in this, which is not come out, but which, when you read between the lines, they want to extend the tenure of the current chief. So ये पूरा असीम मुनीर साहब का कहानी है. He is trying to do all that for himself. Okay. And then it's not only his tenure he wants to extend, he wants to extend the tenure of the Air Force and the Navy chief. So he's taking them along. So they also have the gajar to put their weight behind Asim Munirji. So that for the next 6 years, these chaps can happily rule Pakistan. Right? Okay. Most importantly, they want to legalize the military courts so that they can try Imran Khan and make a Nelson Mandela out of him or whatever. Nelson Mandela or Bhutto, one of the two he'll become. Either he'll hang like Bhutto or he'll come out like a hero like Nelson Mandela. That is to be seen, but he's sitting in the jail, Adiala jail. And then, of course, the important thing of this amendment is that the army will not be held responsible for whatever they do, whatever actions they take. So that's very interesting, right, for Pakistan. So Pakistan is going through a lot of tribulations. So let's see. They don't have, very surprising. There are elections happening in Kashmir and there's no discussion of those elections in Pakistani press. It is hilarious. This is the first time I'm seeing. That is the level of internalization they are in. The first three you can see. TTP, BLA attacks will happen because if people die, they'll be reported. IMF loan getting stuck also will get reported. Okay. All that. But the constitutional amendment is eating their head. All their YouTube channels are only talking of constitutional amendment. So now we'll see, because at this point of time, the thing is a little hazy. What's going to happen? Will this end in a martial law? If Munir is driven to a wall, because I don't see him getting any headway in this, notwithstanding this government, which is, look at it. This government is incapable. So Munir might not get his way through, in which case he might go in for martial law. That's what I get to broadly understand. And look at this government. This government seems to be serving the army than the people, because this government was instituted by the army. The people didn't elect this government, which is there, Shahbaz Sharif and gang. So interesting times in Pakistan. Uh, Overall, if you take my view, Pakistan is best left rotting in its own, juices. Okay, now let me talk of Bangladesh and Pakistan. The link. This is this article in the Nation which came out. Pakistan and Bangladesh, and very interesting. You know what? How Pakistanis are thinking. I mean, the fellows don't know where their next meal is going to come from, but they're already instigating Bangladesh, and they want to. It's all like that. What have they written? He says, there's a wave of strident independence, strategic autonomy, and anti-India sentiment pulsating through Bangladesh. Okay. Uh, India is likely to react viciously to forestall and preempt all moves by China. Viciously. I mean, the Pagar is out of his head here, completely. Uh, Moves by China, US, and Pakistan. Pakistan, to definite. Even US, we started talking to them somewhere. Okay. China will naturally not like them. We'll do whatever we have to. Even Pakistan at the geopolitical and diplomatic levels. India is presently quite isolated in the larger South Asian region, with Maldives, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan et al. Slipping out of its sphere of influence. He is living in some dream world. वो तो अपना कटोरा कान के साथ बैठा है, कटोरा के साथ. I just spoke about what's the reaction in Sri Lanka and Maldives. Nepal, I went, when you read Nepal news, there's nothing about anti-India. Bhutan also. Bangladesh has gone through a tumultuous period. I see people coming back, slowly coming back to normal, and we'll talk of it. Then he says Pakistan must take advantage of this vacuum. So Bangladeshis, be prepared. Pakistan is going to enter Bangladesh and take advantage of the vacuum there. So the chaps who have raped you will now come and do something else in this vacuum. Okay? Because there's a vacuum there. That has been created by departure of Sheikh Hasina and India's waning influence in Bangladesh. So what will they do? They'll radicalize you, or whatever they want to do, or whatever you want to do with them. All the best to you people, because they ill-treated you, and the chaps are now coming back to you and doing what they want. All this is nice. Nuclear Pakistan and Bangladesh could view this crisis as an opportunity to renew, revive, reinforce, and further cement a genuine multidimensional fraternal relationship. Their nexus, see the word nexus, it has come out, could yet redefine the geopolitics of larger South Asian region. So they are forcing you, or instigating Bangladesh to go against India. I mean, Bangladeshis are not fools by any stretch of imagination. I mean, I don't consider them fools. That's why I keep reaching out to them. They are intelligent, emotional people, and they'll get over it, and they know what's good for them. Okay, there's no doubt. अच्छा, न्यूक्लियर पाकिस्तान, नो न्यूक्लियर है पाकिस्तान, सिर्फ ये है कि उनके पास न्यूक्लियर ये खाने के लिए पैसा नहीं है. एंड बांग्लादेश might revive their brotherhood. They both must realize, united they stood tall, proud, strong, undefeated. Divided they fell. No more. Who divided them? Those fellows. So you unite with them. What will be the result? I'll leave it. The divisive forces must be countered decisively. Can both overcome their unhappy past and march lockstep into a bright and shared future? So all the best to Bangladesh. You're going to have a bright future with Pakistan. Go ahead. Be my guest. Now let's talk a little about what's happening in, Bangladesh itself. Certain things are happening for the good. Certain things are there which need some introspection. So the first thing is, I like this interview. I read this in total. Their foreign advisor. He says, we're going to have balanced ties with everyone. He's also said we can't get away from India because all around us, all three sides is India. Okay, we can't get away from India, but then we're going to have some ties with China, USA, and all that. All the best. We have no problem with that. You had ties with China, we couldn't stop you. You had ties with USA, we can't stop you. Right? And we shouldn't also grow. Even we have ties with China, we still trade with China, even though they are our major adversary is China. We still trade with them. So trading with them is no problem. The rest is up to you. What you want to do with China? We're not going to stop you. There's no issue. I have no issue with that. Good. There's some introspection, mob justice at public universities. This madness will be our undoing, which is still on. People are being hung or killed or whatever it is as a mob. There's no, lawlessness. If lawlessness comes into Bangladesh, it will seep through to the top, and then India has to take a stock of the whole situation and how to curb it, right? Because lawlessness, mob justice, all that uh, could veer into radicalization and produce, pose security threats to us. One thing I'd like to put across: there are a lot of queries which have come to me from Bangladesh. Why are people being shot on the border and all that? Well, it's very simple. Why should Bangladesh be shot on the border? Because they're doing something illegal. It's illegal to come across a fence trying to subvert our security system. Would you like it to happen to your country? No. So why should you people come through the fence? You want to come to India? Come through the normal route. You're welcome. There's no problem in that. There's no problem at all. But if you come through illegal methods, well, BSF has orders. They will shoot. There are protocols. They'll follow it. There's no wanton killing happening there. Whatever is happening is because of illegal immigrations. Bangladesh has to stop that. It's an internal problem of Bangladesh. Don't externalize it to us, please. Okay. Then, of course, army has been given magistracy powers. So, again, it's your internal thinking to prevent misuse of magistracy powers. You're already worried. So, well, then, like I said, a lot of uncertainty. I see uncertainty coming out of Bangladesh. Right? One is not, they're not certain as to where they're heading. And of course, like I said, just about a month plus since, about a month and a half since their revolution, instigated from USA and helped by ISI and, peppered over by China. So, it'll take time. They have to settle within. And of course, Bangladesh had problems. There's no doubt about it. And it just burst over. Right? And then their ex-railways minister has been placed on a 5-day remand. I have no problem with it, really. What you do with your thing. But the question which we need to think, is there a witch hunt happening or justice taking place? Because if we get the feeling that there's a witch hunt happening and political cleansing is taking place and things like that, India's approach to Bangladesh will be different, right? And on that, there's no doubt. We're not interested. We're not interested in interfering with your, internal affairs. Bangladesh can do what it wants. A lot of people have said, "Oh, India shouldn't interfere with our internal affairs and treat us as equal." Yeah, that's what we've been doing. I mean, we have not fixed your prime minister or chief minister or whoever it is. It's your internal thing. You elected them. You had a whole story. You sort out, right? We will help whoever is there in chair, and we'll maintain relations with whoever is there in chair. A lot of people said you supported Sheikh Hasina and didn't let her fall. Oh, that's Or why did you support Sheikh Hasina? If I support Sheikh Hasina, you have a problem. If I don't support Sheikh Hasina, you have a problem. So, one, you say you supported Bangladesh, that's why they're there. You should not have supported, that's why, this thing. So, it is not a case of whether I interfere with you or not interfere with you, India can't be blamed. A lot of problems of Bangladesh are due to Bangladesh, it's not due to India. On that, I hope you understand. Okay, the last take of mine is on the Odisha incident. It has happened. I put a day before yesterday. I had a in broadcast with Sri IRG, in which a question was asked to me, and I responded, and I put that bit out in the open. It's an unfortunate incident, and a lot of pros and cons are coming out. The videos are coming. There's initially something came out, some everything came out. I'm not interested in the incident. The incident is irrelevant to me. If that officer and his wife are at fault, they should be taken to task. But the way the police dealt with that officer and his wife and the hooliganism which was there, that has to be dealt with. I'm talking of a larger issue. Please understand that. This is not the only place. It happened in Mau. It happened in Rajasthan. It happened in Coimbatore. In Coimbatore, there was two army uh, serving soldiers, brothers who came on leave. They had to sort out something because there was a local DMK councillor who was troubling that family. And this DMK councillor kills one of them. End of story. That happens. In Rajasthan, something else happens where Mr. Rajavardhan Singh Rathore, who's ex-colonel, had to talk and intervene. In fact, one of my postmates gave 4 5 incidents in Rajasthan. You put all these together, a trend line comes out where serving personnel are being ill treated by police officials and XYZ. Is this what you want to do with your army? These chaps who come on leave for a few days uh, have, they hardly are able to go home 2 months in a year from faraway places. I remember once during Babri Masjid, I had 10 days leave during Babri Masjid, the day that mosque was blown up. Right? I couldn't come. I was in Arunachal Pradesh. The train started 3 days late from there. I came home. I spent 48 hours with my family and I was back catching a train. The rest of the time I was sleeping on platforms or the train or something like that. That's the kind of a life we lead. And then that if I go to some place and try to get some things sorted out with that kind of a mentality, I might lose my cool also. Also, I'm not saying I won't. I'm a human being. And if he's roughed up and all that, the reaction will be extreme. So these are the things, this is a standard thing which is happening. What is the government doing about it? That's my problem. Is the government sensitizing all these chaps, these police chaps? The police is not different. They are our comrades in arms. If the police is not there, the law and order in this country will go for a toss. I agree. But are they sensitive to what the armed forces are to treat them well? Are they know the rules under which they have to handle armed forces people? There are certain rules. Okay, you arrest an armed forces guy, there's no problem, but you must inform the unit or the nearest army establishment immediately. That's the law. If the armed forces people start taking law into their own hands, what will happen? There was a time when this was the norm. So I felt, I had to express myself, and I did, and I'm okay. I see people have asked questions about this, and we'll answer that. There's no problem at all whatsoever. Let's first take on Akash question. That's it. The army and the defense forces are central services. Further, the supreme commander is the Rashtrapati. The army and defense forces are for the protection of the sovereignty of Bharat. That's a very important point. The recent incident in Bhubaneswar concerning an army officer and his fiancée and their ill treatment at the hands of the state police is inexplicable and inexcusable. I completely agree with you, Akash. And yeah, yeah, inexcusable, and action in such matters is required by default, failing which they shall recur. What action is expected to be taken in this matter and all other similar incidents on a pan Bharat basis? Look, once upon a time, many of these, I go back to my earlier days when something happened locally, you just went and bet up that local police station and those chaps, and everything else after that. Some gather used to take place and some inquiry used to happen, and end of story. But the police people there used to learn a lesson. But times have changed. You can't keep doing that kind of a thing. We are talking. I'm going back 50 years back, where maybe that those days these things were the way to go forward. Media was not there, nothing of that kind. But things have changed. You can't do that today, and it's not desirable also to do. But equally, they have to be laws have to be strengthened. The police people have to be made sensitized. The governments have to sensitize. The state governments have to sensitize their people as to how to handle armed forces. This is not just the. I'm not against just the Odisha government. It's only. I'm talking of 5, 6 governments. The Odisha government, Tamil Nadu government, Rajasthan government, Madhya Pradesh government, right? Not one. There were 5 governments I'm talking of. So there's a problem with the MOD, the government of India, and the state governments. They have to be sensitive to the needs of the people who are defending all of us. That's my point. There's no point in taking law into our own hands. If that happens, then what is the army meant for? We are meant to protect everyone. Okay. The love and affection I have got in my life from everyone has been fantastic. I wouldn't like to go and beat up people, with that kind of thinking. So we'll leave it at that. Okay. Yeah. Good evening, Maulana ji. Glad. I think you have. Yeah. You joined me as a member. Uh, yeah. Thanks a lot for joining me as a member. Uh, Honored. Okay. So let's take questions. Yeah. Sir, Hasina alleged that the Christian nation is being planned by stealing parts of Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Northeast. Is there any truth to this? I don't think so. Many times politicians speak the way they want uh, to serve their purposes. There might be some idea of doing it, but I don't see this happening. It is out of question. Uh, just for your information, don't think those moderator privileges saved work. Yeah, I'll set it again. I'll set it tomorrow. Let me see. Mm, yeah, sir, good evening. Would be grateful if you could please let me know the books ordered by you and the publisher whom I can contact for these books. Thank you in advance. Look, I have not written a book. For some reason, I have not got around to writing a book, but I've written extensively. Just go to ganashshot.com, www.ganashshot.com. That's my website. All my articles are in it, and I've done some cataloging. It needs recataloging. I don't have time to do it. I did it 2 years back. I need to recatalog, but all my articles are there. Every article and video of mine, irrespective of which platform it is published from, I record it every day religiously in my website. All my articles are there. You will see some on China, some on Pakistan, some on many technology, everything it's there. Have a look at that. Uh, okay, with respect to redesigning our aeroplanes for new engine, not G, finite element analysis and software and uh, CAD tools can speed up the process. Yeah, I agree with you, Hakuna Matata. It's the way forward. I'm sure people are doing it. So I have no doubt about it. Uh, could Japan, USA, Australia, and Philippines form P4 to replace Quad, as India is very soft against China due to bilateral economic relations, supply chain, and BRICS? No, I don't think so. They already have something called a Squad or something like that. They can work on it. There's no problem. But you can't replace Quad. That's what I told the beginning. The Quad has a larger purpose, right? At this point of time, you see, the China, and I told you, no, what I said in the beginning. China is worried about facing India on the Himalayas and USA in the seas. That's their nightmare scenario. I'm not saying this from my thing. This is what they say. So to that extent, Quad is always relevant. And India and Japan have good relations. Australia, Japan, and USA have good relations. So we also have good relations with Australia. So Quad is their ultimate problem. Today it is benign. It's not signaling, you know, uh, there's a strategy behind it. So don't worry. What does the really what does the USA really want to negotiate with India? They're doing so many things that put us on the back foot of the negotiation table, like filing a case against our NSA. Look, you have to understand one thing that USA will play a double game with us always. Always. Why? They want us in some manner to become a ally of USA to work against Russia and China. More China, less Russia, but equal. So to that extent, they'll play this double game always and expect it. Deal with them accordingly. Deal with them accordingly. On Monday, that is tomorrow, I'm going to do a program with Ambassador Tribunai on how India achieves strategic autonomy by being with the BRICS and with the Quad. Come and watch it tomorrow. It'll be interesting. I can assure you this. Okay. So we should understand what USA is doing. The new neighbor challenge might be from Sri Lanka next, since the newly elect PM might be pro-China. Can this affect the policy of Quad? Sid, like I told you, he's come here. He spent some time in India, uh, 3 4 months back, and went back. He's understood. Let us see how things happen. Right? It's not a one-way street. Okay. Um, 1 minute. Let me. Okay. Right. Next question. I'll have to give me 1 minute break. I'll just come back, folks. I think there's someone at my door. He's. I'll come back. Yeah. So there is an oil angle to US engineering the coup in Bangladesh. We discovered large deposits of oil in the Andaman Sea. Look, these are all pie in the sky. Okay. Will this happen? Not happen? What it is, we don't know. It takes a long time. If you go back into Pakistani history, uh, recent history, about 4 5 years back, Imran Khan, when he was the prime minister, one day said, "Oh, we've got a lot of oil, and it'll be discovered." They spent about 30 40 million dollars for oil exploration and found nothing happened. So the same problem will come with you. So this is all rumors. What will happen, we don't know. Okay, and USA doesn't have to come all the way here to get oil. It has got enough oil of its own. So don't get into this kind of a thinking. It doesn't work. Our friend is China, not US. We have shifted away from US. Yeah, yeah. पाकिस्तानी जी आप तो खुश रहो यूएस चाइना के साथ आप वो भी जा रहा है तुम भी जाओगे नीचे I'm a first year student in international relations degree. I would like to have your guidance on how to approach this subject. How can be good at this subject because becoming useful for our nation? Good idea, Arvind. So I suggest you read a lot about everything. Read daily newspapers and then relate it to what your lecturers and professors are talking to you in college. Okay, and uh, initially, there'll be a lot of theory about international relations, and if you can relate the theory to what you see in newspapers, just newspapers, you don't have to see too much, or a few programs like ours, right? And not necessarily mine alone. See a few good ones, right? You'll get a good idea. For example, Mr. Shekhar Gupta's "Cut the Clutter" is a good one, but he at many times he goes political. He has to cover political nationally, but in terms of international relations, also he covers quite a bit. So go through them, right? Newspapers you must read a lot, and these days newspapers you can read using a mobile, okay? Because Google gives you a good idea about everything. Read more you read, the better it is. That's about all. Will it be possible to extend to include other countries in Quad in the coming future, and which countries do you have in mind? I don't think so. I don't think anyone else will be added. At one point of time, I thought it would be okay to add South Korea, but I don't think the people spoke of Quad Plus and all that, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's the way I look at it. Okay. Mm. So is India facing seven front war in near future? Islamic states activated by China. Will Malaysia, Indonesia join this anti-India, anti? Oh, don't live in this dreamland. There's no anti-Hindu war. There's no anti-India front. None of these countries can survive without India. Even China cannot survive without India. Okay, so don't get and India is too big for all these chutput countries. And for countries in the ASEAN region and East Asian countries, India is their hedge against China. So don't get see a lot of people who veer towards extreme form of Hinduism or rather radical Hinduism or Hindutva, whatever you call it, have this view that everyone is against them. Don't, I think that won't take us far. Was Nelson Mandela a planted figure? No, no way. Okay. Uh, why don't we geofence Pakistani channels here? Recently, a top channel interviewed Zakir Naik, and a lot of propaganda was spread against India. It got 1 million plus views and easily accessible in India. Yeah, that's a good idea, but you'll have to put it across to the government in some manner and ban Pakistani channels. Pakistan will always be a nuisance to us. We should understand that. We have no choice in that. We have to live with this menace, nuisance. Are we waiting for something to happen? Only we'll wake up from our slumber pockets. Yeah, we've answered this. Sir, Manipur की situation कैसी है अभी? It's not in a good situation. I must tell you very honestly. It's not in a good situation at all. There has to be some drastic political action there first. The military action will fall later, and that political action has not happened for the past year plus, like 2 years now. So I think we are in for a tough time, and I don't see either the central government or the state government taking steps in the right direction. How you create a bridge between cookies and make is the crux of the problem. And that there's no way. Okay, General Harbik Singh says that we demolished Domel and Kohala bridges in time. We wouldn't have, had we demolished, we wouldn't have had a JK problem. Can you explain with the map? It's also guided General LP and a lot. Do you agree? Well, I don't agree fully. Because General Harbik Singh had his own issues. You know, those people who are from Punjab and that part lionized him, but he had his own issues. Okay, and maybe someday I'll explain the whole story. We made a lot of mistakes in 65 ops. Ultimately, we must be honest with ourselves. The army didn't exactly. The army leadership didn't come out looking good in 65 ops. It was left to the prime minister who prodded the army into something. We'll talk of it someday. I'll let me see. Is it not an intelligence failure or failure of raw as Bangladesh regime change unfolded? No, I don't think so. This was not expected by anyone. I mean, even 3 days or 4 days before the whole story, one didn't expect this to boil over the way it did. Okay, so it's not a failure really. In fact, I remember around 26, 27 thinking that Bangladesh is settling in. That's what my thought was. So it's not so. I don't. I mean, we castigate ourselves too much. That's my viewpoint. Got another SSB coming up in 15 days. I've cleared CDS 224-2. Let's go and do what you are, Sam. Are you all the best to me? How to increase stamina and endurance while running? You have to continue running daily. Your stamina will only increase if you do daily running. Okay. Unless you do daily physical activities, your stamina will not do well. All the best anyway. Okay. Recently, China ambassador made some positive statements regarding business, and Wang Yi also mentioned about troop pullback. What's China's game? How desperate is he? If he's on the back foot, how to exploit? A very good question. I've written an article on this NRK. I'm going to post it in Economic Times. A matter of maybe 3-4 days, it will come up. I'll take this question on again during the week. Get back to me with this question, because unless you read what I've written, you will not get the idea as to the whole story. Economic Times, maybe by Wednesday, Thursday, that article will come. Have you seen people from Jain community? Have you seen people from Jain community in the army? I ask because it's every citizen, every community has responsibility equally to protect army country, and they being actual minority don't have an enter army. No, there are Jains in the army. Yeah, there are officers whom I've dealt with, so I don't think your observation is right. Okay. It says free PhD save Chakmas help us. Fine, I understand what you're talking, but then this is the internal problem of Bangladesh. I'm sure at the diplomatic level, some things are going on. Okay, will the news of transfer of technology from France of 100%, will it be useful for India and India be able to fully use it? The reason is GE engines and Apache helicopter delay. Yeah, it's an alternate, it's a hedge, it will work. So you have to keep doing this. This is a difficult field. No one gives you technology, and whatever you buy from France will be exorbitant. Let me assure you this. So let's see how it goes. These things take time also. Uh, but aren't checkmas in Northeast like Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, etc. already safe in India? No, checkmas are there. The Chittagong Hill tract has a lot of checkmas. They're still there. I think there were some problems a few days back, and what I see is it's not so much now. It might flare up again, but there is a problem, and we need to talk to Bangladesh about it openly because some of those chaps have the tribes are similar to those who are in Tripura and Mizoram. Army should book police officer under take military police officer under military custody and prosecute under military court. No, I don't think that is the way forward. We have to follow the law of the land. Um, we have to sensitize people as we develop. Um, it's a matter of the people feeling that the armed forces are a special lot. They need some special attention and treatment. It's something which has to come out from within. Maybe if the government take a tough stand and the concerted action, it will come in automatically. It's up to the government. That's why I said I have a problem with the government more than individual police thanas. And why and where are we struggling to succeed to the Kaveri engine? Technology, crystal blades. World is take kindly to the notoriety of China, USA. Why China is treated differently? China is also equally notorious, Arunachal. Why are you being partial to them? Notoriety is both ways. Okay, China and USA both are acting as if they're God's answer to mankind. Both need a kick, from my way of thinking. USA finds Bangladesh a useful tool with double edges. Check India and China both. Yes, I've spoken of this before itself. It's apparent what USA is doing. How can we as citizens put pressure on the government to bring reforms to the Agniveer scheme? Yeah, you just have to talk out in social media and speak and write, tell your MP, MLA, everyone, let them, that's how it is. There's no other way. Wahim Islam. Does it work? India and Bangladesh participating the human trafficking and refugee crisis that rises after border killing issues and also to the. Your question is a little confused. There's no border killing wanted. Okay. Oh, yeah. Bangladesh should cooperate with India and keep your people that side. That's the more important thing. In the refugee crisis, you should do. Yeah, naturally, if there's human trafficking, we would like to cooperate. There, cooperation is required, but there's no border killing. Let me clarify this. Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is it. As per Kuldeep Singh, advisor to Manipur government, 900 Kuki militants have entered via Myanmar. I also read reports that militants have long-range rockets. What is the proper solution to this? I told you the solution is political. All this will stop if the right political steps are taken. Unfortunately, our government has not done that. Very clear about it. How much truth is in the news that China has been hit by few cyclones which have affected its grain and crops growth? That's true. There's no doubt about it. They're getting hit badly every year and increasingly. Yeah, Kamar Chima and Muqtedar Khan keep poking us on their Bangladesh is India's biggest intelligence failure. How to answer them? Don't watch the TV. That's the best way. Why are you wasting time with them? Why not make a labor camp in Jaisalmer, Ladakh? No, that's not the way to go. We don't make labor camps. When can the Awami League start asserting itself? I think that will start any day now. I don't see. Yeah. Are the Babus the main reason we aren't able to make a good assault rifle? Part of the problem. They're part of the problem. Not all. There are problems with designs. There are problems with the army also. Let me be honest with it. Does cloud seeding affect cyclones? Look, cloud seeding is done to get rain. If you do cloud seeding during cyclones, you'll have a bigger problem. Okay. Thanks to you, sir. I wish you too will address the militancy that threats upon validation arms. Yeah, fine. You see, we need to talk more with Bangladesh. That's about all. And Bangladesh has to understand we don't have designs on Bangladesh. We can only help you. If you don't want our help, be happy. Uh, okay, what do you make of the White House making Sikh activists just before PM Modi? This is part of USA's double talk. We must be very clear about it. They will deal with USA is a double-edged weapon. We need to be friends with them to counter China and probably nothing more. Whatever you can do out of it, you do, and otherwise, thank you. Okay. I think last question. Why India buying Javelin missile and Striker when we have in-house alternatives trying to placate? And we don't know exactly why they're doing it. It must be a matter of requirement. It must be a matter of production. It must be a matter of quality. It must be a matter of hedging. So we leave it at that. Okay. Right. I think we've finished with the questions by and large. Thanks a lot for attending today evening's open house. Good evening. Thank you and Jai Hind. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the evening.